Fuck the Niners.
Fuck the Vikings. Well, here we are. Championship weekend. Special teams show. 4 teams left. Yeah, good week of football. Good weekend of football.
Yeah. Not much left.
Not much left. It's it, man. Jeez, here we are. It's been a season, eh?
It's been quite the season.
Quite the season. All right.
Quite the season.
So, what was that?
I said lots of storylines.
Tons of storylines. Yeah. It's gonna makes for some
Doesn't stop.
Good chat. It doesn't stop. I'm just gonna sit around here. This whole show, I'm just gonna sit around here and mess around with this flag to draw as much attention to it as I can the whole time.
Too bad the Lions fan didn't show up to.
I don't think we're surprised. Yeah. So, what'd you think? Overall thoughts on the weekend?
Go for it, Luke.
Oh, it was probably the best weekend of football that we had out there. You sort of called it too, Rick. We just it filtered some of the other teams out that shouldn't be there, and we got that you're going to get,
Yeah, I mean the playoffs in general we're pretty good, but I think championship weekend divisional weekend is always like, man, this is good football. Like good. It's those ones, during really the week. Yeah, during the season where you get to a week and you're like, you know what? If I don't watch any other game, I'm going to watch this one this week.
Is the game to watch.
Kind of thing. Exactly.
And you had 4 of those.
This weekend you watch them all. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I would say great football all around. Ravens really showed up, showed who they were. But the other 3 games really good. I mean, the Ravens-Texans game was still good too, but the other 3 were close and fun and exciting. So, yeah. Yeah,
all in all, I was obviously getting after a couple of weeks being away and finally getting to just sit on my chair and watch football felt really good. So, yeah, I was all for it.
Were you clenched up with that flag for the end of the game there?
Clinched up for the flag. Which flag at the end of the game?
That flag that you got on your back. Were you clenched up?
Yeah. Nah,
you holding it nice and tight for the end of that?
No. We'll get into it. I'll talk about how I finished. I'll talk about how I finished up the night because it was definitely unlike me. But we'll get into it for sure. Yeah, I guess we can just jump right into the talk here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So first up, Texans, Ravens. I didn't put our picks up here. I don't think it really mattered at this point. I think
Rob
the winners.
Wrong. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, us as fans.
Rob, we all picked I think we got him. Pretty much all of us. Rob, right?
Yeah, we crushed Rob. I took the Texans, but I think Reg and I ended up 3. I think the 3 of us ended up 3-1.
Yeah,
and I think I think Rob ended up 1-3.
Yeah, because he had the Lions. The only one he had right was the Lions.
Yeah,
I took the Lions. For sure, didn't I? I feel like
I think.
Oh, you were 2-2. That's right. Yeah, you were in 2-2. Yeah. All right. So, what'd you think? Texans, Ravens.
Texans stayed in it, obviously, up until I guess halftime, And I was thinking, oh man, like this might actually be a close game going into the end. And then in the second half, it was just like, okay, this is Baltimore, and their defense, like, out of this world good, right? Like if you think about the Texans, they're a pretty high scoring offense. CJ Stroud's making things happen. Their offense didn't score. Like that was a special team score, and they got a field goal.
Not only did their offense not score, the Houston Texans offense didn't take one snap inside the red zone. Not one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a record or something, right? It was crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. It was a beating.
Yeah.
And, you know, that tying special teams, the punt return, it was like, oh, like, okay, this might be momentum going into half. Like maybe they can turn it around. No, not a chance.
You know what? They were the pressure on CJ Stroud, how fast he had to react every snap. I was just like, what the hell? And they couldn't get any running going. They just there was nothing. And yeah, you're right. Baltimore, I listened to some stuff leading up to the week and talking about Baltimore's slow start in the playoffs, and it felt kind of like they were slow starting, right? But maybe it was just knocking a little bit of rust off or whatever it was. But second half, you're right. They just dominated the game.
Yeah.
I was. I feel like there wasn't much pressure other than just doing things perfectly. You know, like I think they're past the part where we just got to win. I think they're really trying to perfect some things, and
yeah. I think Houston had to play out of their mind, and Baltimore had to screw up for Houston to win. I think, like I said, I think my heart I wanted Houston to win. I think, but in my mind, I knew that I knew Baltimore would take this one.
Yeah, they're scary good. I mean we'll get into our predictions after, but
yeah, for sure. All right, Green Bay, San Francisco. Do you want me to do this?
The rain was insane. The rain was I did not expect to see that.
Did you guys see did you actually see the close up of Purdy wiping off his hand after he took the snap? He dried his hand on his leg. He took the snap, he backed up, took his drop, and he was drying his throwing hand off in his anyway. I'll do this one. So my wife obviously is a Packers fan. She has this superstition right now where she feels like if she watches them play, they don't win. So I watched it downstairs by myself, and she went up and watched whatever. I will tell you that I think I mentioned it to a couple of you guys. Brock Purdy didn't play great for almost, probably about 85% of the game. There's some things that he did really well. He just didn't do it consistently enough. And when he did things really bad, they were really poor. But it didn't seem like he ever really stopped trying, which I appreciated. When they needed him to be great, he was. Green Bay played fantastic. They did really, really well. I don't want to sound like that was a good old try there, Green Bay. But the reality is that, and like I was saying to, I don't know if I said it to you, Luke, or not, but the NFC North is really interesting after this because Green Bay wasn't supposed to be here yet, and they are. And, there might be some growing pains still with them, but the NFC North could turn out to be, minus Chicago in case Chicago does anything. 3 teams vying for, the top spot next year. So
I actually wouldn't. So I was going to say, as far as the NFC North goes, I wouldn't be shocked if Chicago's pretty good next year too, right?
Yeah, they were solid going. But again, remember they did that solid last year too. Yeah, they did the same thing last year.
Yeah, they came together.
My end of season feeling is like, okay, Chicago was looking good. Lions are obviously good. Green Bay is obviously good. And I'm thinking, are the Vikings going to be the worst in the NFC North? God damn.
Are we back here already?
Back here.
Well, I mean, back here already.
A lot of competition.
They were only ever really the second worst team in the NFC North, right?
You usually can't be worse than the Lions. Most of the time. And then sometimes it's
here we are.
yeah. Bonehead play by Jordan Love on that last drive felt kind of bad for him. I really struggle with the Purdy narrative that's out there. I shared it with you guys. The Pat McAfee finally saying like, what the hell is going on? Right. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, but whatever. I just don't care anymore. I'm sick and tired of listening to people talk about it. I just want to play the game. I'm hoping that it was that last drive, the plays, like the throw to Ayuk. It looks like the throw is beautiful. That throw to Juwan Jennings over the middle, over top of the linebacker, underneath the safety, unreal. Chris Conley on the sideline, like the plays that he made during that drive, it was like, holy shit. And I don't know if you guys have heard the narrative right now or this week, but the play where he called off the tight end motion on Christian McCaffrey's touchdown, like he is just as much capable as any one of the quarterbacks that are left in the playoffs. So I just, at 2 years of experience, I wish people would just get the fuck off his back and leave him alone, right? And just let him play ball. But
he's got the best passer rating and QB rating in the league right now. Really speaks for itself. 2 years or not, he's the best quarterback probably. Or maybe Lamar being a different style of quarterback would arguably be the same, if not first and second. But Brock's ratings they speak for themselves. I mean, that's
you can even listen to him talk about Jordan Love too. You can listen to him talk about Jordan Love and how great Jordan. Oh my God, look at how great he is and all this and how much promise and like what the. Well, anyway, it is what it is.
Just
with the remaining wishing for another quarterbacks.
Rodgers.
Sorry, the remaining four quarterbacks, right? You got Lamar, you've got Purdy, Goff, and Mahomes, right? So like historically, like for their career, I would be like, oh yes, I want Lamar, I want all of them before like Purdy, but I would say Purdy's number 2 or even close to number 1 in the playoffs, right? Like he's
I take Purdy over Goff all day, man.
Yeah, Goff's playing very good football though. Like Goff has played very good.
They all are though, man.
And Goff is, he's got like that veteran, I guess you could say. So like, I would probably take Purdy over Goff, but who knows? I would definitely take Lamar or Mahomes, but I think Mahomes is playing worse football than Purdy. I think Goff is playing better than Mahomes. Like I think Mahomes is the worst quarterback in the playoffs currently. And that's not saying Mahomes is a bad quarterback. I'm just saying I think he's playing the worst football out of all of the quarterbacks in the playoffs.
Yeah, he hasn't been strong like compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the good thing about not listening to any NFL media is I don't get to hear this Brock Purdy.
Oh my God, it is.
It sounds like it's very bad, but like I don't watch
unreal.
I don't watch any sports shows. I don't listen to it. Like I don't follow any football media at all. So I just watch the games and I listen to the announcers talk their shit, and that's about it.
Ryan Clark, who was a safety for the Steelers. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
A couple years back, but now I think he's big with like CBS, maybe even ESPN. He came out and said, the hardest thing for him to do all season long was pretend like Brock Purdy was an MVP caliber quarterback. Like, fuck off. Like, fuck off. Right? He was an MVP. He was an MVP. He was the number 1. He was the MVP front runner right up until Christmas Day. Right up until Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I don't even understand what that means. They win this weekend, no matter who they play, they're going to be the underdogs, and the media is going to be all over those other 2 teams in the AFC.
It's like they're just everybody's just chomping at the bit to watch him do something bad, and I'm starting to believe this whole thing where it's like if we keep trying to knock him down, and if he does finally knock down, then we're vindicated because nobody saw him come out in the draft. And I'm starting to believe, I was like, that's ridiculous. Why does anybody care? But it's almost like that's what's actually happening. So whatever. I could care less anymore. I just want to play the game. That's where I'm at now.
I don't understand why like his draft position, like why that's even talked about. It doesn't even matter.
Well, because it makes everybody else look. It makes everybody look bad. Is what everybody's saying.
Yeah, but there's all pro people that are fucking walk-ons that are all the way at the bottom of the all the time. So who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Either way,
he has the best pass completion and the best QB rating in the league right now.
yards per attempt, yards per pass. It's unbelievable. All is
looking
anyway,
at
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Compared.
So either way, I'm not trying. This wasn't supposed to be a Purdy. It wasn't supposed to be a Purdy thing. It was just. I thought that Green Bay played really well. When the game finished, I literally sat here and was staring at a blank screen for several minutes because I couldn't believe what I just watched happen. I firmly believe that the game there was just nothing that if it felt like everything in the past, those 30 Kyle Shanahan losses when they're down by 5 or more in the fourth quarter. I felt every single one of those, and it felt every bit the part of that it's always felt like. So to me, it was almost like, well, I've been here before. And that's really what it felt like. And then to watch, it was like the biggest switch for me going from Jimmy Garoppolo to Brock Purdy is that when Brock Purdy drops back to throw the ball, I don't go like this, right? Because that's what I used to do, right? Oh God, where's it going? So I don't do that ever when he drops back. But that final drive, all I did that whole time was just waiting for it to happen, waiting for the interception to come, waiting for this to happen, waiting for fucking Drake Greenlaw to drop his fucking interception, right? That's what I waited to happen, and it never did, and I just couldn't believe it. I really could not believe it. That all Packers fans, the Packers team, should be absolutely thrilled with the way they played. One bad play, one missed field goal, and they definitely won this game. It was theirs. So, yeah.
I think
rain's crazy though.
It is.
Yeah, the rain's crazy. But one thing that you can take away from this too is what you were just saying is, and this I think goes to that whole Brock Purdy narrative and whatever not being an MVP caliber, whatever that's supposed to mean. The fact that he can come in clutch and do a game-winning drive at one of the biggest games of his life, probably the biggest game of his life, right? The NFC Championship last year it was a big game going in, but he only played for, I don't know, a drive, 2 drives, whatever it was. But he came in clutch and he won the game when it mattered. And it's something that, Dak Prescott can't do, or, these guys that are getting paid 250 times his salary. So, fair
enough.
Birdie. And
anything else?
The Packers did look good. And Jordan Love kind of didn't have the clutch in him and kind of fucked it up at the end there, which is something
it's funny because he looked like the rookie on that last play.
Yeah. He did. He looked like the inexperienced.
Or he just chucked it. It was such a bad decision.
Yeah.
Not like that would have mattered maybe, but I think another thing too, like the Niners really pressured them at the end of the game, and you just when you see teams that know how to win, in pressure moments, they were shitty all game, but they came back within I would say arguably the last 10 minutes. They started putting it together. They figured out how to win a game. I mean,
the one thing that the 49ers do really well is their defense in the red zone. People don't score a lot of touchdowns against us, right? There's something that happens to them when their backs are against the wall. And you're right. The fourth quarter, it all kind of came together. Special teams came together. All of it happened. And it looked better all of a sudden.
I think the part that started, there was a touchdown by McCaffrey. I think his first. Did he only get one? I can't remember. He got one, right? That was the one then. So
two.
I just remembered. Yeah, so it was his first touchdown then. And I just thought there's an MVP MVP work right there. Because he was the only thing at that point going good for them at that part of the game. I just thought
it was
dude just did his job.
Yeah, you're right. It was like watching McCaffrey in the NFC Championship game last year, right? When everything else went to hell, there's no quarterbacks left or whatever.
He just showed
remember
up.
that one run, he ran for that touchdown and he fucking ran over the defense.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
he's just like QB and everything too. Like
I was like,
watched that.
When he scored that touchdown, I was like, oh, we might not have a quarterback, but we might be able to do this.
We have Christian McCaffrey.
We might be able to do this, right? So anyway,
he's
a
running back and a quarterback in the same play.
Yeah, I think Debo being out. I think Greg Olsen was talking about it, and sorry, I don't want to dwell on this too much more, but Greg Olsen said, when you have 2 weeks off like that, 2 weeks to plan for a game, you build a game plan, right? And when you have a player like Deebo Samuel that is a critical factor and probably was a big time piece to that game plan, when they go down so early, it's not like the team can't overcome it, but everything is different all of a sudden. Everything that you've practiced for 2 weeks is now gone. And now you have to, like, if you saw, they tried to run Juwan Jennings out of the backfield, and it just wasn't the same, right? So you could tell that there was a significant part of the game plan that was Deebo Samuel's. So would the team be awful without Deebo Samuel's this weekend? No, because right now they're not necessarily game planning for 100% of Deebo Samuel. If Deebo's there, great. But if not, they plan around without him.
Man. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like, and no offense, like everybody say, oh, Deebo Samuel's an integral part. I honestly think, like, yes, he's a very important piece, but I feel like that enough that they can work without him, especially with McCaffrey again. I really do think that's a factor coming into this weekend. But we can get to that, the game coming in.
Yep. Cool. Okay. We'll move on. Sorry. Going on there.
It's all right.
Where's that Lions? Is there a Lions fan here that want to talk? Oh, no Lions fans?
No Lions fans.
This was a good game.
Fucking Baker.
This was ironic.
Fucking Baker.
Yeah. He sort of, 2 out of 3. Well, maybe he put 3 quarters in. Nah, he had a good first half, but yeah, he did what we thought he would.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for the Lions, I think they needed this game to not be as close as it was. I think Tampa Bay was nowhere near on the same level as any of the other 3 teams left in the playoffs now. The Kansas Cities, the Baltimores, the San Francisco. And to play tight, like, I think, I just think that they played so close that now it's great. The story's cool. The Detroit story's cool. I get it. Yeah, it's fun, all that kind of stuff. But I think that they needed to win this one big is what I really think they needed to do.
Yeah, and they were only up by a touchdown until, I don't know, 5-6 minutes left is what it says here. So and the Bucs came back and scored within 2 minutes of that go ahead or 2-point whatever, that other touchdown. And then they got the ball back with 2 minutes left. And I'm thinking
they were driving. They could have drove. Yeah.
I'm thinking,
they had a chance to tie it.
Any other team though, like, yeah.
The one thing that baffled me was at the end of the game, that 2-point conversion they went for. That whole thing was crazy.
I still don't really understand the so what teams are doing when they're down by the 14 is they go for the 2-point early on the first touchdown, so that if they get it, they just need the touchdown and the extra point to win.
To win.
But if they miss the 2-point, then they have to go for the 2-point. And I'm just like, why are you doing?
Now you're making up. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't understand why you put yourself in that position.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just like 2-point conversions are 60% rate, so or something like that. So then it's like, well, we're down by 2 scores. We're at 60%. Chances are we're going to get one of them. But if we can get the go-ahead one on the first go, then we have a chance to win the game instead of going to overtime. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what the 2-point conversion ratio is, but I imagine if it's above 50%, that's the logic behind it. But when they missed that, I was thinking, oh, fuck, here we go. And they're going to drive down, and then they're going to miss the other one and just lose the game right there. But
could you imagine? Could you imagine if that's what it came down to?
Yeah,
that you're calling 2-point conversions and you end up losing the game because you just decided that you were going to go with this ridiculous computer that's telling you what to do. Like, I just I struggle with it.
I mean,
Either way,
it works
Lions
in some
went to the
sports, I
NFC
suppose, but yeah, they definitely lean. Hey, and Lions are they the only rookie head coach going into the playoffs here? I feel like they are. So I mean, he's learning as he goes too.
Well, you mean his first year as a head coach in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, he hasn't been here before as a coaching.
Not in the playoffs, no.
Head coach.
No.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
I think like the adjustments you got to make. I feel like when it comes to playoff time for any league, any sport, like coaching really does matter because it's that much more intense and everything. It's do or die, right?
And
they're do or die every week.
He tends to take a lot of chances, like a lot of fourth down chances, things like that. Yeah. And he was like, I just wonder, like I understood the mentality, but I think when you get your team to buy in, right? You get your team to buy into that way of thinking. Do you think that he keeps that, that foot on the accelerator in an NFC champion? We're not talking about week 13. You're down by whatever in the fourth quarter. We're talking about the NFC championship game with punching your ticket to the Super Bowl. Do you still take those risks if you're him, or do you if you're MCDC, or what do you, or do you change anything, or because that's who you built as your team? Does your team lose confidence if you don't, but that, should I be taking these chances right now? Should I punt the ball or should I go for it on 4th and 3 from my own 45? I think
if that's the way you've played all season and that's the way you've gotten there, I think you just continue doing that. And you know what?
That's your
as
that's
the
your
coach,
identity,
you just
right?
go. You take it as the coach when you fuck it up, right?
Can you imagine?
I don't agree with it, but I wouldn't
set
be
the
doing
scenario
that.
45 on their own 45. We'll just hypothetically on their own 45, they're 4th and 3. He's the type of person who's going to go for it. And I'm probably guessing that on 4th and 3 with a full Niners defense, a healthy defense, 4th and 3 isn't the easiest thing to get. So turning over short fields like that, field position to the 49ers offense. And if you look, the comparison, I think if you compare the Detroit defense, especially like the secondary defense to the Niners offense, it's not pretty.
We have a lot of points
like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what their game plan is for sure.
Like they struggled with Mike Evans a few times, and let's be honest,
with
Mike
all
Evans
receivers.
Too, right?
I think the last
Mike Evans
receivers
have been like one of the. Yeah, they do. Their pass coverage doesn't seem to be their strong point, I guess is what I'm saying. I feel like Mike Evans would be a gimme if you're going to come in playing the Buccaneers, possibly the best receiver in the playoffs that day. If you're not double Manny. Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? So I don't know. Hey, you know what else drives me nuts too? And you just brought 4th and 3, and I see teams doing all this time, especially my team. It's like they need 3 yards or 2 yards, but we're gonna go for 25 every time.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yards, but we're gonna throw a bomb down the field. Like you guys literally could have ran this twice, and you probably would have got it or shove it twice. Like shit like that drove me nuts all year, man. You just
I understand taking
bomb it.
Yeah, I understand taking what the defense is giving you, but like you're saying, it seems like a lot of teams. You're right. They do on these 3rd and 4th and short. They go for these long yard, these big yardage plays more often than not. It seems kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah,
I think. Do you think that's analytics again? Stack it up. I don't know. Analytics would say, they're probably going to run it here, right? So they load their defense up and then let's throw one deep just in case.
Yeah, I wonder if it's also just like the looks at the line that the quarterback gets, and it's either a run or if there's 8 in the box while you're bombing it. Like if you've got man coverage, you're bombing it, and there's probably more to it, but yeah, I would be.
Well, there's a play in this next game. I guess we can jump off to it. Are you guys done with Tampa Bay and Detroit? Yeah. First of all, I just want to talk about. This guy is a gem. I don't even know, man. Jumping down into the field. It's not even like it was assured that the the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game at this point. You know what I mean? It's not like he was celebrating a game that they were just going to walk away with. He told his wife flat out, I am taking my shirt off and I'm going out that window. And she said, don't you dare. And he said, I wasn't asking your permission. I told you I'm doing it. Right? Like he just, right. So
and he was already shooting bowling balls before. Did you see the tailgate that he showed up and he did the
he spent the first game at the bar. He spent the first game in the bar next to the. He was like, I'm getting the full Buffalo experience. That's what he said. He said, and Travis today asked him, he's like, did you go through a table? He's like, no, nobody ever gave me the opportunity to.
Why not?
That would have been the best.
You want to go through a table?
Yeah. Like I can see him and Travis just like after this season, man, like hanging them up and just going out and doing like live podcasts all year, whatever they got to do through this.
Well, they said today, they're like, hey, listen, when we retire, do you want to just go around and go to tailgates every weekend? And they were like,
yeah, and that'll be it.
I'm in for a good time.
That'll be it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So the Chiefs Bills game. So I was kind of the segue here was Josh Allen. There was a play to Stephon Diggs. There was a drag. It was like 10 yards down the field, across the left of the field, and instead he chose to go 25 yards down the field into the end zone and miss the play.
Yeah.
And so it's that kind of thing. Not taking what the defense, he was pushing for the touchdown, which I can appreciate. That's something that we come to love with Josh Allen, but also making the decision to say, hey, look, if I get it just into Stephon Diggs' hand, he probably turns it upfield for another 5 yards. And here we are living to fight another day. Right. So it's that mentality, but you're right. Game of the weekend for sure. I think that we all kind of expected that to be this one. Yeah. They both played really well.
Bills just can't beat the Chiefs.
Can't beat the Chiefs, man. Can't beat the Chiefs.
God,
someone brought up a point, and I can't even remember where I heard this, and maybe you guys can verify, but the Bills pass rush was to the point where they were like hiring people off the street. They really had nothing as far as their pass rush went, and I believe the team the Chiefs played before that was into the same deal. I want to say this was a CBS crew that mentioned that, and I thought, that actually is sort of a big deal because Mahomes, like, if you don't put pressure on the
injury-wise, the Bills were definitely banged up, so they definitely were probably out of all 14 or all, all 4 teams or all 8 teams, they were probably one of the most banged up that were there. Like they were even like DeMar Hamlin was playing and he hasn't played like all year. Right. So like that's where they were at right now. But I think they still put a game. I think the Bills ran like I see you clicking on your computer there, Reg. I think they ran like 80 offensive or 70 offensive plays.
Ran a lot more. Yeah.
And the Kansas City Chiefs ran like less than 50.
No shit.
Let's see here.
I didn't see that.
78 plays for the Bills, 47 for the Chiefs.
That's crazy. That's insane.
That was like the game. There was
the Bills. What were the Bills missing then? Like I feel like all year they were just missing something great. Diggs is great. They have all the parts there. Man, what is it? Like a big receiver, like a Devontae Adams? Do they need something like that? What is it?
Yeah.
I think it's a living. I think the Bills. Our thing with the Bills is that the same thing that we love about the Bills and everybody loves about the Bills is the same thing that ends up being their downfall, and it often comes down to Josh Allen and his decision making. It really does, and I don't want Josh Allen to change because, like we've talked so many times on this show, it's incredible to watch him, but if you're a Bills fan and you're never trade in Josh Allen, there's no way you would ever do that. But
it'd be
sometimes Josh Allen, I think, makes some decisions that, and let's not take anything away here. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is unbelievable. Like they are so good. So
that's why they're there.
So
it's why they're there.
It carried them through the season when the offense sucked. Right. So MVS actually caught balls this time. So I don't know.
The Chiefs had 37 minutes, or sorry, the Bills had 37 minutes time of possession. Still lost the game. It's actually crazy.
I mean, you want to talk about legacies. If your kicker's your legacy, that sucks, man. That's wild. It's like that. I couldn't fathom. The kick went by it. It's like, again. That's just I couldn't imagine. Yeah. I don't know. Tough loss. And Kansas City again start to click.
Yeah. What were you trying to say?
Yeah, but I don't know if Kansas City's offense looks as good as they need to look coming into this weekend, right? Like Mahomes went 17 for 23, and Pacheco was running all over the place, but I don't know. Like they should be scoring more points. Like they really should, because the defense is keeping them in these games. Like, for example, if a team's running, what would we say, 78 plays?
Yeah.
78 plays. Like how, and you're only running 47, but they also only punted the ball once. So, and they didn't go for it on fourth down. I don't even know what happened here. When I look at the stats, it's just like how did, I guess the Bills were running all game, right? And obviously the Chiefs didn't run that much. Yeah. Pacheco had a ton of yards, Pacheco had a ton of yards, but he didn't have a lot of carries. He only had 15 carries. So, but yeah, like you were saying, Rick, like Josh Allen, I think is an amazing quarterback, but I feel like he always tries to put the game on his shoulders to win. And he's got a lot of teammates that he could lean on to help win the game. But when it comes down to it, it's like, instead of tossing the ball for, a little dump off, he's running the ball, that kind of stuff. And it's great. It's amazing. Like he got a huge run in that game again. I think he got 2 big runs in this game. And it's great to see, but sometimes it is a team sport and you do need to rely on your teammates to help you out. But the Chiefs defense is really good. Is also what it comes down to. So
and the Bills, in my opinion, probably have the best 1-2 tight end setup. Knox and Kincaid. They've got a great setup there. They've got Stephon Diggs. Like they've got the weapons.
James Cook looks all right.
James Cook. I think it's just I don't know. Whatever they found in the second half of the season is what worked. I think it was just some poor tonight or the other night. It was just some decisions didn't go their way. And then they made calls like, the fake punt, 4th and 5 in your own half of the field with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like there's just no need for it there. You know what I mean? You want to catch them by surprise. I get it, but you punt it away and you let the struggling, you make the Kansas City struggling offense play against your defense. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
But you're all the ball possession, man. Yeah. I felt like Allen didn't have the timing we talked about again. Like we were saying, he was just chucking them over people's heads, left, right, and center. I felt like that was going on a little again. He ball to Diggs, and he sort of went through his hands. Yeah, he had a guy on him, but man. Wow. To Reggie's point, saying what was it, over 70 minutes of possession, which was probably their game plan, and they couldn't out. So.
Yeah, I mean, there was 2 big drops from the wide receivers. Like that Diggs pass should have been caught.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Like almost any wide receivers catching that ball in the NFL, let alone one of the premier ones, should be catching it.
Yeah.
And there was another one earlier in that half, I think, as well. I can't really remember what it was, but again, you can't just blame. Like that, obviously, that's not the only reason they've lost the game, right? Like there's other things that would have happened to cause that, and I don't know. I don't know what the Bills need to do, but they can't beat the Chiefs, so it's like they need to figure something out.
Something's got to change.
They get here every year, and
they got it at home this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah, no excuses, right?
Yeah. Okay, Chiefs, move on.
Oh,
yeah.
There we are. There it is.
Good looking banner.
I mean,
Pretty
it's
good.
yeah, I just stole it off the internet. Let's be real. Yeah, so it's the Kansas City defense against Lamar.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the Baltimore defense is probably going to feast. They're going to keep the Kansas City Chiefs offense at least in check. It's not like the Chiefs are going to score 40 points here. So
No.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a beating, actually, as much as that. Like, it is the AFC Championship, and you would like to see a really tight game. But I do think the Ravens are going to beat up on this offense that isn't really that good. And I think they'll make it happen. Like, their run game, like if you watched just the Buffalo game, like they ran really well against the Chiefs, and I think the Ravens just do what the Bills do running about 5, 6, 7 times better than the Bills. And then Lamar has been, pretty much perfect accuracy as good as you could want a quarterback to be, or as good as a quarterback can be. On top
the one thing, yeah, with the Lamar thing, he only threw for like 160 yards.
That's a lot. Like, he does that a lot, though, right?
In the Houston game, what I'm saying is that can you make it? Can you force him to have to play and throw the ball? And Mark Andrews is probably back. So, if you could somehow take away the threat and see what Houston did at the first, if you watched, D'Amico made an adjustment and he went back to put up spy, right? Yeah. So depending on who your spy linebacker is, like if they play the Niners again, you've got Fred Warner as a spy linebacker. It's a lot different than whoever, than most teams. So if you can turn him one-dimensional, then you never know. Yeah. But I do think it's the Kansas City defense versus the Baltimore offense is really where the game comes down to.
Yeah, because I really don't think the Chiefs are going to score much here. Right?
I don't think so either.
And I think the best defense that they played against recently, I guess, would have been the Niners, right? Baltimore, and they did pretty good against that defense. However, they did have 5 turnovers or whatever it was, so that did help them.
Short fields and stuff like that. Yeah.
But offensively, they haven't really hit a stone wall against a defense. However, the Chiefs are probably one of the best defense. Could be the best defense. The Ravens could be the best defense. Niners could be the best defense. Definitely not the Lions, but defensively, like I don't know if you can stop Lamar at this point. I don't know if you can. Like, they're doing very well, moving the ball with the run, and it's opening up the passing for Lamar. If you can make him one-dimensional, I think maybe you can stop him, but he's been very accurate too. So like he hasn't thrown many interceptions, and I guess he doesn't have quite the weapons that other quarterbacks might have, but he's still got a decent receiving core, I would say. So
yeah, what do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I had to check him out. Sorry, go ahead, Ray.
I just said, what do you think, Luke? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was like, I actually had to check out. I just went through and sort of did a little comparison between all 4 quarterbacks because I was curious with Lamar being sort of a scrambling quarterback, what his yardage this year looks like. 800 yards less than everybody else, but he's also got 800 yards rushing, which we should expect. But again, if you go back 3-4 years, he was rushing for like 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards, about 8. He's thrown 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, which is the lowest of the 4 QBs left, but he's also fumbled a little more, like 5 times, right? But he puts it on his shoulder. He threw Beckham, Flowers, Aguilar, like to Reg's point, like on any other team, I would consider these like average receiving cores. These guys are catching everything. Like his rating's over 100 still right now as a QB. He's playing his best football ever, and perhaps it's shadowed a little bit by that defense right now. Like he's really is a detrimental factor to this team winning this game this weekend. I think if he goes down, it'd be curious to see how Baltimore would react to that.
Yeah. I mean, they got Huntley as the back. I don't know. I mean, we don't need to talk about Lamar going down. I don't want Lamar going down. I want to see him finish the game. And, for me, so last week I talked about 49ers Super Bowls and have, up until a few years ago, every Super Bowl they ever went to, they won. Maybe coincidentally, these are both the teams that have beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So I have bad blood with both of them. So I'm comfortable with either one of them. I believe that the Ravens will win this game. The difference for me is that I do believe, and not everybody believes in playoff experience. I do believe in it. I believe that there's something that we talk about learning how to win, and there's a culture that you have and things like that. And there's something that has to happen for teams in the playoffs that drives them to be just that much better or do things differently. And I think that skill wise, the Ravens are superior by far. I don't even question that. But there's also something that says that the guys that have been there and done that, they know how to get it done again. And so there's no part of me that would be surprised if the Chiefs go in. I honestly thought that if the Chiefs were going to lose, they were going to lose in Buffalo. I felt like if they were going to lose, they were going to lose, Buffalo was where it was going to happen. And I don't know that Baltimore presents the same environment that Buffalo would. And so if Buffalo couldn't do it, I don't know. I think this is a great game. That's where I'm at. I think this is a fantastic game.
This is also like Mahomes' 5th AFC championship or something, or whatever. Like he's in the AFC championship every year. Every year. So the whole experience thing, I think, is very important for sure. This is the furthest that Lamar's been, right? Mm-hmm. I would like to think that the pressure doesn't get to him, but it could. You never know. But Mahomes, Kelsey, like those Chiefs guys that have been to the AFC Championship countless times in the last, 5, 6? I don't even know how many.
5 years. I think it's 5 years in a row. I think it's 5 years in a row.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's got to be worth something. One thing I think that, because how many Super Bowls have they been to? 3?
This will be 1, they've been to 3, 1, 2. Yeah.
So I mean, if they've won 3 AFC championships, maybe this is their 3rd AFC championship to lose. If this is their 6th one, I don't even know. If we're just like bouncing back and forth, but I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be talked about, is the experience. I think Baltimore does have a rough environment, though, as like to mention, like you were talking about the Bills environment. I don't think the Baltimore environment is very friendly, for sure. I imagine it is a hard place to play for opposing teams. But again, like these guys are experienced. They've been to all of the, scary places. And, one of the big narratives was like Mahomes has never won a road game, or he's never even played in a road game in the playoffs, but he went into Buffalo, Bills Mafia, and he beat them. So, that's momentum coming into this week for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on from experience, let's go to little experience.
Yeah, no experience, maybe a little less experienced.
Other than the nucleus of the 49ers team, who has a ton of experience. This is their fourth NFC championship in a row. So they've been there a bunch of times now. Goff's been to the NFC championship with a different team.
Super Bowl. Yeah,
he went to the Super Bowl that year. Yeah,
lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Purdy's been to the NFC championship for 3 plays.
For a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think of this one?
All right, I'm going to start this off and I'm going to get things going. All right. If there's any team in the playoffs that deserves to go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, I think it's the San Francisco 49ers. I felt that way kind of from the start. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to, because last year they kind of got fucked. I feel like they were far and away the best team in the league last year. I feel like they probably had that NFC championship game. And I think they could have went in to the Super Bowl and won last year. So, good on the Niners getting back here, NFC championship. I hope, I feel like they should win this game and they should be able to go into the Super Bowl. But there is something weird about the Lions winning very tight games. My mind tells me that the Lions are not going to win this game. But my heart says there's something special. There's something magical going on with Detroit, and maybe they can actually pull it off and go to the Super Bowl. I'm picking the Lions. I'm just letting you know.
There you go.
Picking the Lions. I really do think the Lions are the worst team remaining in the playoffs. I think they were probably one of the worst teams last week remaining in the playoffs. But for some reason, they win these games, and I don't know what. There's just something magical going on with the Lions. So, and I'm not superstitious, but I'm going to take the Lions.
I just want to challenge something magical, because they just kind of got by the last game. They just kind of got by the Rams game.
This is what I'm saying. They're winning tight games. It's just like,
do you think this one will be tight? This is the first team they're running into that's probably has the opportunity or the ability to score 40 points easily on them.
My mind tells me they're going to lose by 30 points for sure. But
you just think the Niners are going to have a bad game? Is that what you're saying?
They're just winning games that they shouldn't win, and it's just happening. And
see, I felt, yeah, that's fair.
Like they won that Rams game, and it's like, man, I don't know if they should have won that the Bucks game. It's like they should have crushed the Bucks game, and for some reason it was way too close, but they still managed to win the game. And
so you're saying
there's a lot of that going on.
If it stays close, it's a Lions win.
Yeah, I think so. And like even throughout the season, they had that too, where it's like the other team scores 40 points, they score 42 somehow.
True.
So, yeah, true. I mean, if Purdy and the boys don't come out and put up 21 in the first quarter, like I would expect them to, then the Lions might actually be able to hang in this and win the game somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So I'm just picking the Lions because who knows?
Just to be that guy.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know what?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm totally cheering for whichever team wins here for the Super Bowl.
Damn.
Because both my brothers, they're fans and all that. I would hate to have to cheer for the Lions because fuck the Lions. Yeah. But I think both these teams lose to Baltimore, though. Sorry. But I'm cheering for NFC.
All right, Luke, what do you think?
Oh, I totally think it's the Niners to lose. I mean, if the only way the Niners have a bad game, and it's possible because I feel like I watched the Niners have a bad game at home earlier in the year. Perhaps maybe it was the Browns or somebody, or maybe it was Minnesota. Was it
Minnesota?
They played Cleveland in Cleveland. They played Minnesota. I think they played Minnesota in Minnesota, didn't they?
I think it was in Minnesota.
I feel like Minnesota beat them for some reason.
Baltimore was the game at home,
and it's something caught my mind, Rick, and maybe you could remind me because I'm not as pretty obviously as you. It appeared that Brock Purdy had some bad games versus with some, I don't know if it was pass rush or maybe I was just seeing his QB rating wasn't as high as the other games. Sort of where I was drawing that from. They probably ran McCaffrey the hell up.
His
plan probably shifted.
He had the best pass versus he has the best completion rate versus rush for this, I think for the season. There's some games where he was rushed so many times that I think they had broken a record on how many times he had completed passes with a rush in his face. So the interesting thing if you watch the Green Bay game, they actually changed his throwing windows. Like if you watch, there was a couple plays where the pass rush got to a spot where he had to like, if the pass rush was coming across his throwing arm, he had to like bring it in underneath it, and then the ball would be off. Right. So getting him off the spot was a big deal.
And and I'll always say, competing with that rain, they probably didn't want to, the inevitable to happen in a tight rain where, maybe you can't make that throw or it's just not a good throw, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But to your point, if he's playing like that against the teams with solid defenses, I don't know if the Lions really have a chance here. If you can't stop the Niners offense, I mean, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that point. Run McCaffrey, they got so many weapons, man. They have so many weapons. Like, it is what it is. Hey, and I hope for a close game as a fan, just someone on the outside looking in.
Yeah, fuck you. Your close game.
We'll get there. Yeah, I'm skeptical of this big game here. Yeah.
So they lost to the Bengals and Ravens at home. That was the two teams they lost to. I mean, the Rams,
the Bengals, AFC.
Yeah, and the Rams they were playing backups, but that's
is that what it was? Yeah, and then the Lions were sort of like always close, like they're throwing like these incredibly high scoring games and winning them, right? I mean, I'll give them that. If the Niners are throwing, the Lions are going to be throwing too.
Yeah, like it just seems like the Lions have always played to their competition the whole season. Like going back and looking, it's like the Lions Chargers, for example, in November. 41-38 for the Lions. Lions Bears in November, 31-26.
What was it? The Lions Baltimore? Baltimore put
the Ravens 38-6. Yeah, the Ravens pounded them. The Ravens pounded everyone. So
and if you guys are anything into conspiracy theories and you've been watching all the colors on the Super Bowl numbers, I mean, come on.
Yeah, Ravens,
red and purple.
Ravens, Niners. It's
it could be. It could. I mean,
red and purple.
You could bleed a red into a blue and make a purple, and you'd have the Lions and the Chiefs.
Maybe the conspiracy, or maybe they need to push.
I don't see any Lions in there.
maybe it's Chiefs Lions, and there's
that's what I said.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's just like. It's hard to see the Lions winning this game, but
and Rick, you're up. Yeah, tell us what's up here.
Tell us if the Lions are gonna
tell us what's up. Game, Rick. give us the lowdown here. What's gonna happen? What's actually gonna happen?
I think there's first of all, the young tight end in Detroit is incredible. Laporta he's unreal. And we have some players who are. So we sat our rookie safety in this last game, Jair Brown, and not really sure why. It actually was part of the reason why we almost lost the game. The backup that was put in place didn't go so well. We have one corner who's costing us shit almost every time the ball gets thrown up. But then we have other corners. We have Travarius Ward and Diamador Lenore. Lenore is probably hitting as hard as any secondary person in the league right now. He's pretty much laying people out every game he plays. I think if we're looking at the matchup in this one, so you've got your Christian McCaffrey, your run, all that kind of good stuff. But I think where the plays are is that Brandon Ayuk has been, I don't want to say quietly dominating because a lot of people are aware of who he is. I think Brandon Ayuk has an opportunity to really exploit the Detroit secondary. And the fact that Juwan Jennings is playing as well as he is, if Debo is playing in this game, I think if Debo plays this game and he's healthy to play the game, I think that the Niners might put up the 21 points in the first quarter. Like they might be able to do it. If he's not playing in the game, I'm not too worried about the game plan. I think that it'll be there. I think what you might see in that case, though, is you might see more of a, the 3-level system with the running back out of the backfield. You might even see some use check. But really where it's going to be is it'll be Kittle attacking the linebackers and the safeties and allowing Jennings and Ayuk to exploit the not so great corners of the Detroit Lions. I think really the on the other side of it, you've got like Penei Sewell and an okay or good Detroit offensive line against a Niners defensive line that is generating rush. Eric Armstead didn't have nearly as big of an impact in the Packers game as I really hoped he was going to. So I'm hoping that was just kind of knocking off some rust and giving him an opportunity to get in the game. Where I'm really struggling is on the edge pass rushing. Chase Young is actually brutal, like really bad. I really had high hopes for Chase Young to really do some things. So what I would love nothing better is that Chase Young prove me wrong and show that he is every bit the part of playing the opposite side of the line that Nick Bosa is playing on, because Bosa is going to be tied up. Penei Sewell can play Bosa. Bosa's great. Bosa's going to get his rushes and all that kind of stuff. But the key really is if we start getting at Goff's going to make mistakes. Goff is the worst quarterback right now in out of the 4. And with pressure and with linebackers and a couple of corners that are willing to make plays and things like that, I think that Goff makes the mistakes and we capitalize on them as a result. And that's where I sit.
Well said. Yeah, I think Goff's got a lot to prove in this game, doesn't he? If he has a fantastic game, maybe he is a difference maker for this team. And this is where he's got to do it, right?
Yeah, I used to say, like, when we went to watch Detroit game, and at the time the St. Louis Rams, and it was the Stafford Goff game, but it was flipped. To up until his resurgence here in Detroit over the last 2 years, I was very big on telling everybody that Jared Goff was by far the worst quarterback I'd ever seen play.
He was,
because watching him play live, you could see what he was seeing all the time, and you were like, what is happening here? He's brutal. So I'm glad that he's kind of found his stride. He's got great tight end, great wide receiver. He's got some tools there, so that's great. But I got nothing.
So I would say Goff is playing very good, though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is. Excellent. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think offensively, right? Like they need a big game. Like the Lions need a really big game from Goff and probably Laporta, like you had mentioned. But I imagine you guys should be able to shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown, possibly. He's a very good wideout, and Jahmyr Gibbs has been pretty good. Like they've got weapons at each level, kind of thing, offensively. But defensively, I think you match up way better. And the Detroit pass defense is actually awful. It's been awful all year. It's like,
it's not good.
The worst quarterbacks are shredding their defense, but for some reason, the offense always comes back and just scores a little bit more than the other team. So,
where do you compare Aaron Jones to Jahmyr Gibbs?
I would say Aaron Jones is better.
So Aaron Jones was the first 100-yard rusher against the 49ers in 51 games.
Oh, yeah. Pretty good.
So Jahmyr Gibbs is great. I'm just and he could go off.
They have a bit of a split back thing, right? Like they've got the David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs thing. So like, who knows what'll happen there? But yeah, I would say Aaron Jones is a much better running back, and we'll see what happens. Like I really do feel like it's going to be a blowout, but I don't know. Magic, baby.
Yeah, a lot of people are unsure as to why they have 7.5 point spread.
Is that what
really?
That's all it is. I would have probably put it at 9.5, 10.
The Packers I think climbed up to like 10.
He's close. Did it? Yeah, it went up.
Is it like 2.5 for the Ravens or something? Probably.
Yeah, it's tight. Yeah, 3 I think it was. Yeah, I think they got 3 for the home field advantage. Either way, so yeah, championship weekend, lads. Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited. Yeah, they got 3.5. Yeah. Super Bowl's around the corner too, right? So we're probably only doing this one more week after this weekend.
Yeah, we'll figure out a spot in between the Super Bowl and we'll chat.
Maybe the Lions fan will show up battered and beaten. You know?
You know what? If the Lions win this weekend, he'll show up for that one.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
So.
Okay. Well, lads.
Anyways, I think we had a listener. We had Jeff listening in. We had someone else.
Nice.
Too. Yeah. Jeff said I was the tiebreaker for something. I don't know what I was tie breaking, but
I think
there's no Lions fan on here to defend their team or provoke anything. I mean, I really got nothing on the Lions. I can't say shit, to be honest. It's like
you know what? I still think
the Ravens are the best team in the league right now, but I don't think they're far ahead of the Niners. I think that's the matchup that's going to happen. Personally, that's my take.
Yeah,
those two teams.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was saying it for the Christmas game. I said, you know what, this is our Super Bowl preview, and I've felt that way the whole way through. That we're going to have Ravens Niners. Yeah, we just need someone giving the Lions some props.
The game itself wasn't a preview. I think that was a lapse. Yeah, I think the Niners had more in it than the Christmas game showed. Like, you know, and I'm sure they'll highlight.
Wow. Other than the score and the turnovers, the Niners beat them in every statistical category. So it's not that they can't play the game.
19, I think.
Yeah, but they were and one score was in garbage time. They had a chance to come back and tie it. Like with either way, that's the game is over. They lost. They got their asses kicked. No big deal. All I'm saying is that a Super Bowl that is a competitive Super Bowl between potentially the Ravens and the Niners isn't necessarily a blowout that maybe people think happened on Christmas night. It wasn't as big of a blowout as
no.
It just was a shitty game.
I was agreeing with you. I don't think that was something you can measure a Super Bowl versus. Yeah, that's all they got right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like that'll be what they talk about. So.
We'll
see how this game goes and go from there.
Which is fine because I would much rather go into that game as the underdog. Like way more want to do that.
For sure, you would.
Then go in. Yeah.
You go in as the underdog, and it's nothing better.
Yeah.
So we're all on Baltimore, all on Niners, essentially.
Except for you. You're a Detroit guy.
Other than you said a Detroit guy. What the hell?
Yeah, I did pick the Lions on our pick'ems, but you know, the Niners will probably win.
You sticking up for your brother that's not here? What?
Well, you know what? It's the story. It's the whole Lions thing. Whatever it is.
It is.
You know what? If they bring the Lombardi back to the NFC North, then I guess that's something to be proud of. When I beat them next year, I can say, we beat the last year's Super Bowl champs. But they're never making it, and I don't think anyone's beaten Baltimore. So, cool.
All right.
Thanks for coming to hang out. Whoever came to hang out.
Yeah, it was great.
We appreciate you. You know, it's on Spotify,
do the things,
YouTube, all that kind of stuff. So. Thanks again, Luke, for being here more than Rob's been here all year. So really appreciate that.
I didn't take his place. I really did. He's very superstitious.
He is. Yeah. He doesn't want to watch the game.
Yeah. I think there's something going on that correlates, and I get superstition with sports for some people, man. But yeah, hopefully he gets in next time.
All right.
See you guys.
Peace. Go Niners.